You see Reaper, my goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading, whether the price is going up or down. So over on total for the daily, it does look like we have some positivity going on. We may have invalidated that double bottom possibility. We do still have some indecision, but it looks like we are trying to get a breakout. If we continue to see this breakout, then we could see our altcoins make that run up toward that 870 billion. Momentum is pushing forward. VWAP is in the bullish territory. That does want to push that money flow into the green. So if lower time frames hold bullish from here, we could see a pretty strong push forward. Remember, when we get that green across the daily, on 4 hour, the 2 hour, and the 1 hour, we typically get strong green candles, and we are seeing that right now. Over on the 1 hour, we are retesting our channel, but if we can make it bounce off of here, we could see a little mini bull flag above our bull flag to help carry us forward. The MPP does project there is a decent chance to push for that 83K, but we did kind of stop shy of that on the last pump forward, so that could be a little played out. I would just watch because we did kind of go sideways, so if we continue going sideways, it could just start to round if that VWAP continues to favor bearish here. We need to see that VWAP pick up strength to help push that momentum higher and give that money flow further strength. If we can see that VWAP make another break for the bullish territory like it did back here, then we could see another leg up. So that would be the positive thing to look for. But if we continue to favor bearish and we see a rejection of that neutral over the next few hours, then I would exercise caution against the break up. That double top possibility is not going to happen though, so that is positive because that does give us a kind of relief that we would not see a very violent drop down from here, hopefully. Now, the MPP is still projecting a pretty decent drop over on the daily, so I would just exercise caution, but it did just show up, so there is that too. Remember, when they just show up, they're not as reliable because sometimes they do get invalidated. Over on Bitcoin futures for the daily, we are seeing a pretty decent push forward. So again, this pump forward is good overall. We're hitting 95K, but it does leave that gap to fill at a later date, most likely. Remember, gaps have an 80% chance to fill, just like the previous ones we have seen along back here. So momentum does look like it wants around. VWAP is pulling back, and that money flow is favoring in the bearish territory. I would watch this 1 hour closely. Over on the 1 hour, we do have some higher highs with higher lows. I would draw a parallel channel here just to see if they connect. And we would have to pull this back if we want to connect some of that. If you mix candle bodies and wicks, they connect. If you're not a fan of mixing your candle bodies and wicks, they would not connect. In that case, we deleted the wrong thing. In that case, this would be more of a bullish continuation. I would attempt to continue us forward like its name suggests. That would be positive if this can be confirmed as a higher low and we can prevent a bearish engulfing candle here taking us lower. If we see that bearish engulfing candle, I would watch. We could still make a bull flag in this range and then pump up from there. But I would want to see this VWAP pick up some strength and continue to push us forward. Otherwise, if we consolidate and that VWAP stays weak, we do still have that gap and there would be a chance for it to fill, but futures is not going to trade over the weekend, so there is a potential for us to see other gaps form on that futures as well. Over on Bitcoin for the daily, we got our full break up and then some, so hopefully you were watching that. But that does mean you should probably want to consider taking profits because we have been moving up for quite some time. And I don't want to hear you complain if the market just pulls back here that you are losing money. When you see a quick push up or a quick push down, you should at least take some initial or some profits out. If you're not doing that, then don't be too discouraged when your investment is dropping down, because that's what's going to happen if you never take profits. Momentum is in bullish territory. VWAP is bullish, but we have a lower high. Exercise caution and watch for a lower low. That money flow isn't in the green though, so that does look positive. Over on the 1 hour, it does look like we are continuing above that 93K. We did come back, retest it, and make a bounce, but now we're starting to consolidate. Again, we could create a bull flag here to help push us forward. A bull flag wouldn't be the end of the world because that would give us some consolidation above the support. That would help solidify us being above the support, and then that could help pump us forward. Now again, watch out for a very quick pump over this weekend because that could create a double gap scenario for futures where we may have two gaps to the downside we could end up filling. Our stochastic is starting to pull back. RSI is starting to weaken. That VWAP is favoring bearish, and money flow is starting to pull back. But if that VWAP can break back into the bullish territory, we would see some strong green candles. However, if that VWAP continues to favor bearish on lower time frames, we likely would start to retrace a bit. Over on graph for the daily, and remember, retracement in the zone's not the end of the world because we're just blasting off. But over on graph for the daily, we got a breakout of our pattern there as well, and we did push to that 10 cents that we said to watch out for like 2 or 3 days ago. Momentum is pushing up, VWAP is gaining strength, money flow does want to break into the green, so we could see some bullish momentum here, providing lower time frames continue to hold more bullishly. Over on the 1 hour, it does look like we have a little bit of a downwards channel. Remember, a straight downwards channel is going to create a descending channel, and a descending channel pushes you up. So it does look like we could call this a descending channel. It is very tight. It is probably, if we hit the next peak, that would be where it'd break. Technically, we have 2 touches to the top and 2 to the bottom, so we would see a little bit of a pump up. Since it's a narrow channel, wouldn't really take us much further than these previous peaks, but that could turn into a bull flag, which could then carry us toward that 11 cents. Momentum is starting to pull back. That VWAP is favoring bearish. Money flow is in the green, so we do look positive, providing that VWAP can pick up strength again. Right now, we have lower highs and lower lows, and if that continues, momentum is going to continue to weaken, and money flow is going to break a bit. How's it going, Adam? I hope you're having a great day. We will look at Anchor, and yeah, it is nice to see a little bit of action on that. Over on XRP, we have some indecision here as well. Again, watch for a bull flag. Consolidation after a push up is the best case scenario because that builds you a support level and then you can push up. Remember, you don't want to just shoot straight for the moon. If you shoot straight for the moon, you're going to come crashing down with no gas. VWAP is starting to pull back. Momentum wants around and our money flow is in the red. So the daily is a little more bearish than other coins. But remember, if the rest of the market pushes up, XRP likely is going to follow. I would watch out though because this may be a symmetrical triangle here, and remember, a symmetrical triangle is a 50-50 pattern where it can go up, it can go down, so they're not the best pattern because they're very wishy-washy in my opinion. So we are kind of mixing some candle bodies and some wicks. I prefer to do that sometimes, but remember, a pendant here is created when you get a drop down or drop up or push up, and then you would create a pendant. Now this pendant, since it's coming from a drop down, would be a bear pendant. If it's coming from a push up, then it would be a bull pendant and help push us up. Now, the symmetrical triangle part, you take half of your move. That'd be your break up scenario. So our bullish scenario would be a push to 224, and our bearish scenario would be about that $2 like we've been warning. Our stochastic is pulling back. Momentum is starting to weaken. That VWAP is favoring bearish, causing that money flow to remain in the bearish territory. If this VWAP does not reverse soon, it's likely we would see that bearish breakdown scenario. Now, last but not least, for Anchor for you, Adam, we are seeing a pretty decent push up toward our 2020 zone. So that was that resistance that we said to watch out for a few days ago or maybe even a week ago. But nonetheless, we are seeing a pretty good move up. That being said, just like everything else, if you haven't taken some profits or some initial out and you're more into trading than investing long term, you might want to consider doing so because we have seen a lot of green candles here. VWAP is in the bullish territory, but it's trying to come back down and test that neutral, so we are at a critical point. If that VWAP breaks down and holds, then momentum will round, money flow will remain in the red, and we would likely reject this resistance area. There is a flash of a lower high, so just exercise caution, but that is counting a candle wick. I'd count more the candle body, but even there, that's still a lower high with a lower low. So we may still be in a little bit of a downtrend overall on this daily. We could draw that right here, kind of pull this over, but again, that's mixing candle wicks and bodies, so you can take that with a grain of salt. This is a descending channel, though, and descending channels do tend to push you up. So that is the positive. Then even if we do see some sort of retracement from here, we could see a third touch to the bottom, which would be followed by that last touch to the top, which would hopefully give us that break up beyond that 23.38 up toward that 25-cent range. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for dropping by, Adam. That momentum is in bullish territory. VWAP is pushing up, but it does look a little iffy. So again, watch that VWAP. Over on the 1 hour, that VWAP is starting to break bullishly, so that is positive. We do have some higher lows and higher highs, so overall we are seeing a little bit of a bullish trend. And since these highs and lows are all over the place, they do not connect. They don't create a rising channel that would bring us back down. So this MPP is projecting there's about 46% chance of breaking that resistance, so hopefully we do see that. VWAP, if it continues to push forward, will lead momentum and money flow into the green, pushing that stochastic higher and pushing price further with it. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a great night. Hit the like and subscribe and join us in that Discord.